In Cornwall, we've been trading for so long with the world. I'm not surprised, really, that when it came to the crunch, that the Cornish decided to seek their fortune abroad. And this was brought about principally by the failure of the mines, the failure of tin and so on. And by about 1880, at least 24% of the miners here in Cornwall had gone and left for foreign shores. This meant, of course, that they were going to a new land, places they'd never been before. They had to, it was a completely new world. And this obviously meant a great challenge, not only to them, but also to their families that they left behind. This was the world which they left, and they were looking for a brave new future abroad. Yes, in fact, they say that no matter where you go in the world, if you look down a hole, you'll find a Cornish one at the bottom of it. And sure enough, you do. You might say you can go anywhere. Arizona, Bendigo, Australia. And then, of course, we come to the welcome stranger nugget. Now, this was found in 1869 by two gentlemen. One was called Oates from St. Just, and the other one was called Deason from Tresco and the Isles of Scilly. They were working in partnership. And I can just imagine the day when they found the welcome stranger, because it was the last thing they thought they were going to find. Deason was working away in his little garden there, underneath a tree. Oates was in the paddock alongside, doing a bit of hoeing and all the rest of it. And all of a sudden he heard this swearing coming from Deason, who thought he'd broken his pick. Struck it into the ground, you see. Just broke his pick. Oh, he said, damn it. And started scrabbling around. And then he saw there was a great boulder. You know, this huge great thing. He said, what the devil is this? So he called Oates over. He said, here, come and have a look at this here a minute. So they had a look, dug around, and this gold nugget was not at depth. It was under the roots of a tree in his front garden. The biggest gold nugget ever found, 210 pounds. Just imagine, 210-pound gold nugget, 98% pure gold. So, typical Cornish. They gradually lifted it, took two of them to lift it out of the ground, placed it to one side, and covered it. Didn't pay any more attention, just covered it so nobody could see it, and carried on working. Carried on working all day, and eventually they came to the point where they said, right, well, I tell you what we got to do now, we've got to get this home, we can't leave it here. So Deason got his dray, put it on the dray, and took it home to his house, or where he lived, and put it in beside the fire. Well, it was beside the fire, of course, this thing began to sort of melt, you know, began to warm up a little bit. And consequently, the quartz that was attached to it began to break off. So they wasn't very good, we'll have to do something here. So they moved it eventually onto the kitchen table and put a tablecloth over it. I can't believe it, really. Got this tablecloth over this gold nugget. And later on, actually, when they got out of this quartz that had broken off, I think it was Deason who put it in his puddling machine and broke it down, crushed it and so on, and they got 10 pounds worth of gold just out of the waste. 10 pounds of gold. Anyway, they decided they better invite some friends around, so they didn't say anything, kept it quiet, and eventually, I think that evening, after they'd found it, they invited friends around and sort of had a bit of a jolly up, you know. And then I can just picture it, where the grand revealing, you know. And they said, well, boys, what do you think we got underneath the tablecloth here? So he said, don't know. Well, he said, ta-da, and there it was, you know. And a great jollification and all the rest of it. Anyway, his friends were persuaded to stay the night so that they could escort them to Denali, where they were going to break it up on the anvil at Milugul. And Archie Wells, I think it was, who was the blacksmith, and he took 5 hours to break this up into manageable sections. And then they took the pieces of the nugget the next day to the bank, and obviously their friends accompanied them, because they had to be careful of bush rangers. You know, Ned Kelly and these people were around, and they acted as escort, and they took the gold nugget in, and I think they got 9,500. which is remarkable really, bearing in mind that one that was only £185 back in 1858 was sold for 10,500. The Welcome Stranger, the biggest of the lot, only received about 9,500. So even then, prices of gold was going up and down, and was relevant. And so you've got stories like this. And if anybody has any interest in this at all, please go out and dig around. It's a wonderful way to spend a holiday, Get a map, check where the Cornish were operational, go out and visit it. It's all there. And those people who were living there, say at Grass Valley, we haven't touched on Grass Valley in the Empire Mine, the biggest gold mine in America, all manned by the Cornish. Bodie, well, I can go on. So much, but it's all there to be discovered. And if you've got an opportunity to go out and see for yourself, then by all means you'll have the biggest thrill of your life, and there's no two ways about that.